I'm walking across campus at nighttime with you, and I said, hey, so you a composer? So do you play every instrument? You know, and you lied to me and said no, because you fucking do. But you said, no, I don't really play every instrument. You said, well, I do play his guitar very well, you know? And I never forgot that. I was like, oh, he plays guitar. So then when you asked about how I was seeing Locks, I was like, well, I just figured it's a guitar. That's what you do, right? Hey, what's going on? I'm Ryan Coogler, director of Sinners.
What's going on? I'm Ludwig Göransson, composer of Sinners.
And welcome to NME's Friends Like These. When did we first meet?
We met at in a dorm room at USC on 28th Street.
Frat house.
Frat house, Phi Psi.
That was
not
but
frat.
You were not in the frat.
I was not in a frat.
Yeah. So what happened? They got suspended.
It was a frat house that was suspended for having some parties that they shouldn't have had. So
Yeah.
all the frat guys was out of the house. It was only open for grad students. And I didn't know what a frat or fraternity was, so I moved there and it basically felt like I was in the middle of an American Pie film. Because everyone there, yeah.
Yeah, because all the other houses were not suspended.
No.
So it was undergraduates, you know, partying.
Yeah, and my house is only for grad students.
Yeah.
And I live with a lot of international students, a lot of Indians, and another musician, Thomas.
Tomas. Yeah,
yeah.
he was there. Yeah.
And Polish Thomas.
Yeah.
And then also another film student named Jay.
Jay New.
From
Tennessee.
From Tennessee, yeah.
From East Tennessee. Yeah.
And one night we had a little kind of get together. And we played pool, and I was at the pool table when we met.
I think Jay introduced me to Tomas, because I was his roommate, I think, and then Tomas introduced me to you.
Yeah.
You had short hair.
And you had long.
And I had long
dreads.
hair. We switched places.
Yeah.
My hair long now, I guess. Yeah, but I just got done playing football.
Yeah.
Like I was like a few weeks removed, and I don't know if I ever met anybody from Sweden before.
No.
So we immediately started talking about like fashion. I remember you had some cool shoes on, and then
And music.
and we started talking about music, and that's when it kind of took off.
Yeah, you were talking about Swedish music. Lykke Li, Little
Li.
Dragon.
Lykke Li and Little Dragon.
You were listening a lot to the Lykke Li and Little Dragon.
Yeah, we became friends.
Yeah.
Like we would hang out and listen to music, and that was maybe before I had something for you to compose.
Yeah, and
Before Locks.
I also remember that I think early on we were also talking about how homesick you were.
I was very homesick.
And that was something
Yeah.
that I was like deeply struggling with, and I was kind of surprised that, because I was like, I wouldn't say that to someone, you know. I was not comfortable being like vulnerable, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, if it was nice that you said that, because I was like, that's how I felt, you know.
Yeah, but I felt guilty because you was thousands of miles from home. I was like a plane ride, you know what I'm saying? Like I could get home in a car, you know what I'm saying? You was like, no, I'm homesick too. And I'm like, oh shit, probably shouldn't have said that.
No, it was good to hear.
Yeah. So what was the first project we worked on together?
It was called Locks. These type of movies were not allowed to have, these 508s were not allowed to have dialogue.
Yeah.
So it's only sound and music.
It's kind of ironic because the reason they couldn't have dialogue is because we shot with film cameras. A film camera called the Arri S, which is a not even Super 16, a standard 16, and it's a World War II camera that was it was for like newscasters in World War II, and it was meant to be handheld, and it had three revolving lenses. You could put zoom lenses on them, but you could hold three lenses, and it was for combat photographers who could run like during in live fire, and the camera was built like a tank, but it was not a sync sound camera. It was very loud.
Yeah.
Running, but it was practice for what we would do as Sinners.
It was great practice.
Yeah, but it made me getting used to a loud camera, because I ended up, almost 20 years later using the IMAX cameras for this movie. But going, that's the reason they didn't want us using dialogue was because the cameras couldn't, they weren't compatible for sync sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that that was really interesting that I think changed the way I'm working on all my films was us having a conversation with our professor, Kenny Hall. And
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. And he was the only professor at USC that brought the composers together with the directors.
Yeah,
very important.
Yeah, he was Jerry Goldsmith's music editor.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like a god on campus.
Yeah.
Like he was the bridge between the school of composing and the production school. He taught a class called Directing the Composer. And he was an incredible man. He had a major impact on my
but I was going to
craft.
say, he and you had a lot of conversations about music and sound.
Yeah.
And I think that made you think about how you can combine the two mediums. How
Yeah.
can we combine sound and music into one thing?
Yeah.
So when we went on to do Freefall Station, involve, like Ryan, one of your first ideas was how can we involve the sound at the train station into the music?
Yeah.
And make a musical element of something that you wouldn't know is music.
And I remember you did Courtney Stewart's 508, which was this class, and I remember the score was like crazy, like it was like electronic and very strange. And I was really impressed by it. You know what I mean? I remember her playing it, and I was like, man, who did the music? And she was like, oh, Ludwig did it. And I was like, what? I know Ludwig. That's my friend. So I talked to you about it, and then you were talking about the difference between a tonal score and an atonal score. And it was right around the time There Will Be Blood was in theaters. And I remember seeing that and asking you, hey man, is that score tonal or atonal? And you said, oh, that's an atonal score. And then from there, I remember us just talking about music constantly. I'll never forget this conversation, bro, being on campus because I was always very bad at music class. Like I was terrible at it. Like when I had to take it in elementary school, I was good at rap whenever I had to do that. But like anything with an instrument, bro, it was like my attention like would turn off. And anytime I had to sing, because my voice dropped really, really early. Like when I was very young, I had a voice that was going through like, you know what I mean? Like when I was like in maybe the 4th or 5th grade.
Oh wow! First year class.
And my teachers in choir class, they wouldn't let me sing because my voice was so. They would kind of tell me, hey, bro, just mouth along. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have an interest in instrumentation or music, even though I loved it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I loved listening to music, but it was something I was told that I wasn't good at. So when we met in grad school and we decided we were gonna work together for my 508, I remember walking across campus at nighttime with you, and I said, hey, so you a composer? So do you play every instrument? And you lied to me and said no, because you fucking do. But you said, no, I don't really play every instrument. You said, well, I do play his guitar very well. And I never forgot that. I was like, oh, he plays guitar. So then when you asked about how I was seeing locks, I was like, well, I just figured it's a guitar. That's what you do, right? and I remember coming over to your place when you were like, hey, I'm working on a movie. And I had never seen a score done before live. So I came in your house and I remember you were holding the guitar and you had my movie on the
computer
on the Pro Tools. You know what I mean? And you were live putting it in there. And I was like, my mind was blown. And I remember Kenny when we were mixing my movie, because I had to mix my own movie. And I remember he was just blown away by like how good the score was, and like how it synced up with everything. And I did my own sound design on that one. I used to sound design. I used to mix, and Kenny was like it was like while we were in on the mix, it was like he became another person. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was kind of saying, all right, the helicopter, man, put that over here, bring the music up. Like he was like kind of conducting me while I'm mixing, right? And I remember our TA came in and was like, "Hey man, we running out of time on the mix." And he was like, "No, we not." You know, he gave us more time, and he was like, he was going on about how beautiful the score was, and he was like, "Man, you gotta lock this, working relationship in. Like y'all got something." You know what I mean? I never told you that, bro.
No, you didn't.
Yeah,
You know, that's the first time.
Yeah, but I like you talking about this stuff. It sparked that memory. You know, and that was kind of where it came from. Like that. And the other thing, you know, Kenny told us was like, "Hey man, don't ever use temp music." He was like, "That always is gonna cheapen the process."
I would say that's one of the other secrets to the success and of our partnership, and how to the success of what we end up with in your films, is that you don't use temp music.
Yeah.
You know, everything that you hear in the film, when it's done, that's always been there from kind of the beginning, when we just start thinking about what the music is. So we have our own sound world. But a guy became involved in this film. I mean, I feel like you probably had him in your head while you were writing the script.
Yeah. I wrote the movie chiefly inspired by my relationship with my Uncle James.
Yeah.
My Uncle James Edmondson, who for a long period of my life was the oldest male member of my family. And I was very close with him. We all were. I loved him very much. And he was from Mississippi, born and raised there, fled the state like when he was like, I want to say his early 20s, to Oakland, where he came, where my grandmother and her sisters were living. He married my grandmother's younger sister, Sammy. My Aunt Sammy is who I named Preacher Boy for. And he raised though he was not the biological father of Wendy and my Uncle Mark and Rodney, rest in peace. He raised them. So he was a very particular man. He would just listen to blues records on vinyl when he was off from work, drink Old Taylor whiskey, and listen to the San Francisco Giants on the radio or watch them on TV, the baseball team. And he would only go out to see blues musicians. That's when he would go get dressed up real nice and go out. And for like the last 10 years or so of his life, you know, Buddy Guy was kind of like the last one left. You know, and he would make a ritual of going out to go see Buddy Guy when he came to Northern California. And when he was too old to drive, my mom and my cousin Wendy would get dressed up and drive him to go see Buddy Guy. So I was writing this script basically for him. Like all of the scenes, I'm thinking like, oh, he would get a kick out of this, he would get a kick out of that. I'm listening to his music, and then I thought like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if, you know, Buddy Guy was actually in the movie? You know what I mean? My uncle would love that. So that's how it happened. You know, reached out to our casting director, Francine Maisler, and she got us in contact with Buddy Guy's people. And then and you know, we went out to Zinzi and I, my producer, Zinzi Coogler, and I went to Chicago. And her father is from Chicago. You know, her father is 93 years old. Actually 94 now. And we went out there with her sister, and we went to Legends. And we went up to go talk to Buddy Guy, and it was I got him in the movie because of like his grandkids.
Yeah.
You know, because his grandkids told him, "Hey, Grandpa, you should be in this dude's movie." You know, because they were like Black Panther and Creed fans. You know what I mean? So he was like, "Y'all mean whatever you want," because my kids are telling me I gotta do this. You know, so that was how we got him.
And it's so crazy that he's performing, he's playing and singing a song in your film.
Acoustic too.
On this guitar.
He plays acoustic.
Yeah.
And I had never seen him play acoustic. You know what I mean? Like I just knew him as an electric guitar player. And like I remember we handed it to him, and it was like everybody, you know, like I only ever been on a set where people's breath was held that tight when he played with this guitar, you know.
Full circle.
Yeah, it was crazy.
What's your favorite piece of music in the film?
It's hard to ask. Like to me, it's all one piece.
Yeah.
You know. I think it's like a hidden message in the movie for me that I'm like in a unique position to appreciate because, you know, you and Serena's relationship is something that I saw happen like front row. I had a front row ticket to you guys to realizing you guys were in love with each other for a long time, and then seeing it actually happen, you know, and her being a really gifted violinist, and you being a gifted guitarist, you know, and seeing you guys build a life together, while me and Zenzi were building our lives together. You know, there's a piece of music in the movie where it's this big collision of everything that the movie is about, and it goes from an electric guitar solo by Eric Gales into like string musicians trying to emulate the guitar, and it's a crazy sound. I don't think it's ever been anything done like it in the score, but it feels like it's a love letter to your wife. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, like the idea of it. And I noticed, like, I was there when you guys got. I was, I officiated y'all wedding, so I was like inches away from y'all when y'all got married. Yeah. And like when I heard that, you know, it was like seeing, you know, our lives collide in music. So I think that's the portion of the score that I have a unique appreciation for. And I don't even know if you consciously did that. You know,
right.
You know,
I mean, it is a culmination of everything.
Yeah.
and I think you're talking about this part that was written on the guitar that we translated to strings. That goes like this.
Yeah.
And then repeats, and then there's 4 other voices joining in.
Yeah.
Play it, and we also had the strings play it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite pieces, kind of also what you touched on, which is right before this moment where Eric Gales is playing a guitar solo over this part by the strings. And I mean, obviously the guitar solo and what he's playing is just insane. It's like he's playing like his life is dependent on it.
Yeah.
But also it's also combining, it's also putting that on the visuals with smoke and a Michael B. Jordan and a machine gun.
Yeah.
Just peppering, because it's so bizarre. Like I obviously, as a film composer, I was like, you would be kind of afraid to, like, scared to do it. You know? But you were like, why don't we just have the guitar like solo with that? I was like, oh yes, yes, thank God. This movie is so unique. Like I can, like, me growing up and I'm 40 years now, like I can probably count on you know, a few fingers on, because I'm a musician, I can count on a few fingers on movies that musically just got me to a new place, you know, and how important those movies was to me growing up. And I hope, you know, it kind of inspires and moves the needles for young kids and for everyone, obviously. But I think to get a certain insight in this deep history of the blues and how the impact of it had of all the music that we're listening to now, and hopefully get these kids inspired. What do you hope is going to go?
I just hope people have a good time at the movies. Yeah. You know, that's what it was about for me. Like that supersedes everything, and that was why that just that desire is what enabled me to be bold. You know, I feel like we've developed a relationship with global film-going audiences, and we relatively young to have done that. You know, and I think it's kind of incumbent on us to be bold, to use that positioning, to show more of ourselves completely. You know, I think the film is very much us. You know, I feel like it can only have been made by us. You know, there's this particular group of chosen family that have made movies together, and for me, like that, like we kind of have to at this point give people a unique, visceral experience in the theaters, and if we can do that at a base, you know what I mean. I think the other stuff that follows is you know, secondary. Yeah. So I just hope people have a fun time. Yeah.